Evening. It's the evening of our seventh day of Let's Make a Sourdough Starter. And let's have a look. I want to show you how my sourdough starters are looking. If you are having trouble with your sourdough starter at this point, I feel like sourdough starter is a tongue twister, and I always say dough kind of funny. So it's hilarious. Anyway, if you're having some trouble getting your sourdough starter going, don't worry. I am too, especially if you are in a cold climate. I had a really hard time with my first one when I first made it. I thought for sure it wasn't going well. This was years ago now. And I was like, maybe I should give up, but I didn't. I pressed forward, and it actually took 15 days before it became really active and doubled in size within 4 hours. So it can happen, and I think it's pretty normal if you're in a cold climate especially. So let's have a look at mine and I'll show you what I mean.
Oh my goodness, Susie's looking amazing. Look at all those bubbles, and I bet you can even hear it. I'm going to let you take a listen. Isn't that just amazing? It's so active and bubbly. I love it. And you can see there's quite a bit of rise on the side too. It hasn't quite doubled in size, although it's hard to tell in this huge container. But gluten-free starters don't always double in size. They're about a third they rise up in. So it's doing that now. So since it's doing so great, we're going to feed it the same ratio that we have been and discarding all but 30 grams. And we're trying to learn to be intuitive here at how we choose to feed it. And we don't have to be stressed out about this. This is not a stressful thing at all. The cultures are very resilient and it will come. If you don't have any activity right now, don't worry. I don't have any activity hardly at all in my regular sourdough starter yet, but they will come back and you can make mistakes and they will come back. So don't worry. Just go along with me and you'll learn to use your intuition so that you can figure out what to do if anything goes wrong at any point. And when you're finished with your really good stir, then start to discard and keep only 30 grams of your starter. Then you're going to feed it 60 grams of water. And I'm going to start with 50 here just to show you how you can see that it's too thick. But you don't have to do that. You can just go straight to 60 or 55 or whatever it is you found that your flour needs. Then we'll tare our scale again and add 50 grams of our sorghum flour. Then give it a really good stir again. And if you find you're needing that 10 extra grams of water, you can add a few grams at a time until you reach that perfect consistency that we've talked about. So when you're first starting out, just feed it the 1-to-1 ratio of flour to water. That makes it easier. And you just add water until you reach that perfect consistency. And as you're going along, you're going to start to realize I add 60 grams of water every single time. So I'm just going to go ahead. And so that's what I will do. And you might be thinking today, wow, my starter smells so good and I'm using it for discard banana muffins and all sorts of other tasty treats. So why can't I bake bread with it? And I can tell you, you absolutely can. And a lot of people do. However, your starter is still gaining strength. It just doesn't have the power enough quite yet that it needs in order to give your bread the rise that it needs. So don't be discouraged if you bake a loaf of bread expecting it to be all poofy and beautiful and it just falls a little bit flat. But within 2 weeks, it will be strong enough, I promise. So as expected, after mixing for 2 minutes, you can see my starter is still much too thick. So I'm just going to go ahead and add the 10 grams of water. And I think from here on out, I'll just go straight ahead and add my 10 grams. And I know that you can do the same. Once you've done that, then you give it another really good mix until it reaches the consistency of a thick paste and it passes the jiggle test. Then you'll make sure to clean down your sides with your spatula or whatever you want to use, just so you can see the rise that's going to happen overnight. Again, clean around the top of your jar where your lid will go so your lid doesn't get stuck like mine has several times. And then let's have a look. Look at the bubbles that are already forming. Our starter is so very happy and that makes me happy. And now we'll just put our cover back on for the evening and off we go. And let's set these in a warm spot. So remember, you can bake with your discard now. I've put lots of ideas in the post below, so check it out and don't throw out your discard. So please share with me, how is your starter looking on day 7? Is it taking off yet? Whether you started with us on April 1st or not, I'd still love to see a picture. And have a wonderful sleep, and we'll see you in the morning to feed our starters again. Good night.